This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah. So populating the data into the drop downs through the report definition, and that will be through cascading data population into the drop downs. So when we select the states drop downs, so automatically
cities will populate. Yeah.
allow it to refer some of the activity methods like page property and page copy method. Okay. So now we go for
Yes.
the fourth option. So to populate the data into the drop down. So along with the report definition. Okay, earlier we learned like okay, the values to the property, so those are displaying the drop downs, and later through the activity also we have populated in the clipboard page. And the third one is the report definition, by which we have populated the values into the drop down. And today the fourth option, the final option, is the data pages. So by which we can populate the data into the drop downs. Okay. So before going to that, so we should know that why we have to go for the data pages. So what are the advantages of using the database? Data pages we have to learn. Okay, so let me start.
So out of all these options, which one we will be using frequently?
Data pages will be used frequently. Okay.
Oh, with the help of data pages, it is easy to do that.
Not easy to, but that is more useful, and that improves the performance also. So yeah, I'm going to explain on this.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, instead of the activities or instead of the report definition. Okay, even here also we will be using the report definition only, but that report definition will be called from the data pages. Okay, so generally initially also we have seen that if you open any data type, okay, it is going to be creating some of the predefined rules in that particular data type. So by default, it is creating the report definitions, right? Okay, so data table editor report it has created whenever you create the data type. Okay, so and along with that, it will also create one of the database. Okay, so if you see here, D underscore ICICI data cities, D underscore ICICI data cities list, D underscore ICICI data cities savable. Like that, three data pages also it is going to be creating by default whenever you create any of the data type. Okay, so along with the report definition, and if you open this any of these data pages, so internally the functionality also will be written for us automatically. So it will be returning the cities through these data pages. Okay. So for example, in our customer details class, okay, in our customer details section, we have permanent address layout and the present address layout. There are two layouts are there, right? Okay, so even in the permanent address also and present address also, we have drop down like states drop down and cities drop down. In the customer details section. Okay, so states and cities drop down, it is having two times, one for permanent and one for present. So for both of them, we have used the report definition. Okay, so here we have states and city. Here also we have states and city. Okay, so we have used the report definition for both of them. Okay, so if you open the cities, the drop down values are populating through report definition, which we created like get cities. See, report definition is there. Okay, get cities, it is calling. Okay, in the same way here also, even in the permanent address also the same thing. So now what happened, internally, when you select the city drop down in the present address also, it will call the report definition. Okay, when you call the city drop down in the permanent address also, okay, so again it will call the report definition. It will go to the server and it will fetch the data. Okay, so likewise, in your total flow, if you are having 10 times, what it will do? It is going to be calling 20 times. Why? Because in each and every page for the present and permanent and wherever it is referred, so all the times it is going to be reaching to the server and executing this query like select cities from the cities table, and then it is going to be populating into the drop down. Okay, so likewise in 10 screens, if it is having 10 total 20 times in each page like that, it is going to be calling. So which is going to be wasting your time, and even the server performance also it is going to be impacting. Okay, as every time it is going to be connecting to the server and retrieving the data, connecting to the server and retrieving the data, which is taking long time. Okay, so you are unnecessary, and even it is going to be wasting your memory also. Why? Because as many number of the times it is referred, so those many number of the copies it is going to be maintained. Okay, so it is going to be wasting lot of memory, and it is going to be impacting your performance of the server. Okay, so because of that, what we can do is we can use the data pages. Okay, and not only this one user, one flow is having 20 times. In case in 10 pages, if it is referred this one, 20 times it is getting called. Okay, one user 20 times. Okay, it is getting called. In the same way, if there are 1,000 users, so what happens? 1,000 times, not even 1,000 times. If it is the same screen referred for the 1,000 users, then 1,000 into 1,000 users into 10 pages into 2 times. Okay, so like that it is going to be impacting huge performance. Okay, so even if it is having 10,000 users in the application, if it is having 1 lakh users in the accessing the application, so how exactly it is going to be impacting, you can understand. Okay, so that is the reason why if you create the database, what happens, only the first time when you refer the database, it will connect to the server, fetch the data, and gives the information to the user. Okay, only the first time. It will not connect to the SQL server or Postgres server, otherwise Oracle every time. Only the first time when the user can retrieve the data, it will be calling. Okay, and if it is having 1,000 users also, what happens? Only the first user when it is accessed, then it is going to be accessing. Only the first user. For the remaining subsequent 999 users, what it will be happening? Only the data which it is fetched can be reused. Why? Because the states and cities is common for all the users. Okay, whoever accessing the application in India, for all of them it is common. So you need not run this query, and you need not connect to the server every time, and you need not fetch the data like this. So in that case, what we can do, we can go for the data pages. Is it clear, Harsha?
Yes, sir, got it.
Yeah. So as I said, it is going to be creating some of the databases automatically to the user. Okay, in that the very first database is the D_ICICIG data cities. Okay, so for this and for this, what is the difference? We will see D_ICICIG data cities list. Okay, first one is only cities, and the second one is the cities list. Okay, if you see the very first option, the structure of the data page, what exactly it will be. So mainly it can be two types of the data pages. The structure of the, based on the structure, the data pages can be two types. One is the page and the other one is the list. Okay, page means, as I already explained, okay, as we already know, if it is referring only one record, then it is called a page. If it is referring to multiple records, then it is called a page list. So if you take the states drop down, in the states drop down, how many number of the records will be there? So like for each and every state we will be having the record. In the same way for the city drop down, okay, for each and every city we will be having one record. Okay, so in that if you particularly referred Hyderabad row, Hyderabad city, then it is called a page property. And if you refer all the cities, then it is called a page list property. So page list property means it is going to be having multiple records, okay, multiple pages. So that is the reason why it is called a page list. So if you want to retrieve only one particular city details, then we will go for the page. But to populate the data into the drop down, we want to populate all the cities. So in that case, so we can go to the structure as list. Okay, structure as list. So this indicates whether you want to have only one page property or multiple pages. Okay, so based on the requirement of the user, we are going to be creating the data pages accordingly. Okay, so that is the structure. And later object type. So this object type is referring to the class on which you are going to be creating, on which you are going to be referring the records, or else on which you are going to be creating your report definition. That class name you have to be referred here. Okay, the object type can be the class on which you are going to be creating the report definition, or else activity, or else whatever the functionality you would like to do. Okay, so right now on the data cities we are going to be performing the functionality. So this object type should be always the class, and again the class is like on which you are going to be implementing the functionality. Okay, and later we have something called mode also. Okay, this mode can be mainly again three types. Okay, the data type. Okay, the data page modes can be of three types: read only, editable, and savable. Okay, read only, editable, and savable. Okay, so here for example, when you create any work object, when you create any case in the flow, okay, you see here on the clipboard, generally we will be having various types of the pages. So till now we have seen like PY work page, which we used to refer under the user pages. Okay, so under the user pages, your work object information will be on the PY work page. Okay, so and even if you have any cities or states like that, okay, we used to have the states page and again cities page also like this. Okay, now what I want to do here, if you see the below the user pages, you will also see something called data pages, and linked property pages and system pages will be there. Okay, we will be discussing them later. Okay, but here data pages means when you create any data page. Okay, so here if you create any data page rule like d_get cities, get city data, get ICICG data cities, or else ICICG data cities list, those pages will be created under the data pages. Okay, and these data pages also, as I said, here we have two types. Okay, the modes of the data pages are two types or three types. Okay, read only, editable, and savable. Okay, so right now we will be discussing about read only and editable. Read only means the data pages are read only, those will be available under the data pages category. Okay, if it is editable data page mode, okay, if the page mode of the data page is editable, that will come under the user pages. Okay, you see here there are some of the data pages. How you can know that whether which one is a data page and which one is a user page? Means here the data pages will be always starts with d underscore or declare underscore. Okay, always data pages will be starts with the d underscore and declare underscore. So there are already few of the data pages which are available here, and this add to follow operations, case, content, kit page are the normal user pages. Okay, like PY work page which we have created. Okay, PY report page, PY report parameters underscore temp. Okay, so like this, they all are user pages. Okay, but altogether the editable data pages also will be displayed under the user pages. So the main difference between the data pages which are displaying under the user pages and which are displaying under the data pages is like whether they are editable or not. Okay, whether they are editable data pages or not. So editable means, as you already know, we can modify the data into the data pages. Okay, maybe in the activity or else wherever it is in the section also you can modify the data. Okay, but whereas if it is read only, that you cannot modify it. The data which is under the data pages category, that cannot be modified. Okay, if you see here, there are thread category again available. Okay, request and again node. Okay, so but whatever the category it is, if it is under the data pages category, they are not editable. Okay, but any data page which is available under the user pages, that is editable. Okay, so when you create any data page as a editable, okay, that data page will be always displayed under the user pages and that can be editable. Okay, so if you see here, when you press the right mouse button on any of the page, okay, here we will be seeing delete, refresh page, all these things. Okay, and the same thing here. If you see here, okay, refresh page and delete page will not be enabled. But whereas if you see this PY work page, all those things. These all are the user pages are editable. Okay, so even we can delete the page, we can refresh the page, and once after selecting this data page, okay, here you can even edit the page. If you see here, you'll have the edit. So by selecting edit, you can even modify the data under the normal user pages. Okay, in the normal user pages, you can even modify the values of the properties. Okay, but whereas if it is the database under the databases category of thread or requester or node, you cannot have the edit option for that. Not having case stages. It's not having any data, but even if it is having the data here, this edit button will not be available like for the PEGA work page which you have it. As I have shown you here, okay, you can select the edit and again you can modify data. Okay, here you are able to edit the data page, means you can also edit the data from the databases from your activity also. Okay, you can also edit from your activity or data transform or else from the sections. So that is the main difference between the editable and read only. Okay, now the scope. The scope is again, okay, thread requester if it is for the editable mode, and if it is for the read only, then we will be seeing one more also, node, thread requester and again node. So read only are three types, thread, requester and node. But whereas if it is editable, Okay, this can be only thread and requester. So now we need to understand what is mean by thread and what is mean by requester. Okay, what is mean by thread and what is mean by requester. And also
That's a voice breakout. Hello, sir. Voice in the chat. Hello, sir. Hello.